Hi, Amber.
Hi, Megan.
Welcome to Bad Movies Rock.
Thank you, Megan. Megan, welcome to Bad Movies Rock, where it is still October, so we're still watching horror movies?
Yep, we're on a roll now, folks. You cannot stop us.
They're very scary.
Yeah. I mean, not this one.
But monsters. But monsters and Wes Craven.
Yes, we're on a Wes Craven kick currently.
Mm-hmm. We started with werewolves and Wes Craven, and we've moved on to vampires and Wes Craven.
Yes.
We've also traveled back in time, I believe. This is an older movie.
I don't remember anymore.
I feel like Cursed was like 2005.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yep.
This one actually is very convenient. It has the year it was made in the title.
Now you can't get mad at me.
That's true. You're sort of off the hook.
We watched Dracula 2000, Amber.
Oh, thank goodness they let us know.
From the year 2000.
That it was from the year 2000. Because it wasn't nearly dated enough in its content.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So important for them to date it just in the title.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, Amber.
Dracula 2000, Megan.
Yes.
Let's see what IMDb, Metacritic, and Amazon, not necessarily in that order, had to say about this seminal movie. Let's start here. Dracula, freed at last from a century in confinement, finds himself in a 21st century of chaos and temptation.
Oh my. Okay, that's very evocative, that one.
It is.
That one's
it's very evocative.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Chaos and temptation. I don't know if I saw the... Well, I guess it was Mardi Gras, so maybe that's...
Yeah. It's kind of in temptation and chaos in and of itself, but yeah.
Okay, moving on. When a team of techno-savvy thieves break into a high-security vault, they don't discover priceless works of art, ... They find a crypt unopened for 100 years! !
Okay.
Suddenly, the ancient terror of Dracula is unleashed, and his first destination is America and the exotic city of New Orleans.
Okay.
Just want to draw your attention to the first part of it, where it said a techno-savvy thieves.
Yeah, I mean, they did break into that computer.
Yeah, but techno-savvy.
Oh,
Just, I'm going to hit that really.
Okay.
Techno-savvy thieves.
Yeah.
You know what techno is, right? I don't think the person who wrote this review knows what techno is, but you're familiar with techno.
Yeah, they were definitely, like, bumping those beats as they rubbed that shit. Yep.
It's just the whole time.
That's great.
Just waiting for the beat to drop. All right, third and final. A group of thieves breaks into a chamber, expecting to find paintings, but instead they release the Count himself, who travels to New Orleans to find his nemesis's daughter, Mary Van Helsing.
Oh, wow. Did they think they were going to get paintings? Is that what they thought?
You know, I don't think we know what they thought. I think that this is really putting a lot in the assumption they didn't know what they were going to find.
They didn't know anything.
I can't be any clearer that when this group of techno-savvy thieves broke in to this place, they very clearly have no fucking clue what's in there, because they're often saying, where's all the good shit? And the person who set up the job is like, hey, I'm sorry, what was the actual thing that she said? If it's worth locking, it's worth taking?
Yeah, I believe that's right.
So he has like a bunch of security. So she's like, well, he must have valuable shit. At no point did she confirm that he had valuable shit.
No. Nope.
So
yeah.
I think paintings were among the things that they would have been happy to find, other than a coffin with a corpse in it and death.
Right.
Just saying. Sorry, we've digressed.
Okay.
So we've got thieves painting Nemesis's daughter was the last one. That was preceded by Techno-Savvy, ellipses, 100 years, and the exotic city of New Orleans.
Uh-huh.
And the first one was, he was freed from a century of confinement and finds himself in chaos and temptation.
Oh my. The middle one can only be Amazon.
Yeah, it was kind of obvious this time.
Yeah, that's Amazon's little handwriting all over that one.
Sweet stank and the techno-savvy, the ellipses and the exclamation points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going with with Metacritic being the poetic one at the beginning, and then IMDb being the last one.
Woohoo!
I did it
for 3!
What?
Oh my goodness, that was amazing!
Wow.
I am so impressed. That was fantastic. I guess we can retire this game since you beat it.
Yeah. A podcast entirely.
Actually, yeah, we're done with the podcast, guys. You heard it.
Lovely.
Perfection.
Flawless victory, Ember.
We have achieved the podcast in its final form, and we are no longer required to continue with it. In fact, I think all podcasts are done now. We should let everyone know.
All right. Yeah, I'll send some letters.
Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome. What
would you like to do?
I don't know that I have anything more to add except that, there's some delightful cast members in this. We've got Johnny Lee Miller, who plays Simon, who cannot hold on to a gun for anything. He drops that gun, 4 times, and gets hit with it at least twice.
He doesn't. Well, I mean, he gets smashed. It gets slapped out of his hand.
Sure.
Half a dozen times. I mean, it's not like he's just fumbling butterfingers. Like he's getting actively attacked by vampires, and it is the first night he has ever held that gun.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot we called them vampers.
I did not. This is our second vampire movie.
Yay, vampers!
And I refuse to retire
No, why would you?
The bon mot.
Beautiful.
Vampire.
Vamper. We've got Gerard Butler as Dracula.
Dracula.
He is. I could not recognize him at first. I'm used to the kind of older, more rugged Gerard Butler face. This is 2000s.
This is 2000s. This is like first starring role in a movie, kind of baby-faced, shoulder length, curly coif.
Yeah.
Dripping with corpse sensuality.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, Johnny Lee Miller was a special surprise. I did not tell you he was in this movie.
Yes, it was delightful.
He's sort of a Harker character. He's friends with Van Helsing.
Right.
And
he's played by Christopher Plummer.
Yes, Christopher Plummer is our Van Helsing. Very he was in this movie.
He certainly was in this movie.
That gravitas in this movie.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Justine Waddell plays Mary. Jennifer Esposito plays Selena.
Indeed.
Jerry
else. Ryan plays, I don't know the name of the character, but...
Valerie Sharp,
the news reporter.
The newscaster.
And then Vitamin C.
Yes, that's right.
A pop star. Plays Lucy, Mary's roommate. And so Justine Waddell's Mary is Mary Van Helsing, the daughter of Abraham Van Helsing. And Lucy is her roommate. And so Jennifer Esposito, Lucy, and Jerry Ryan wind up playing sort of Dracula's 3 brides in this movie. And then you have a team of the techno-savvy thieves.
The techno, yes.
Are Omar Epps, Danny Masterson, and Sean Patrick Thomas. Largely, those are the ones you see the most. Other than Jennifer Esposito is also one of the techno-savvy thieves.
Right.
And they're the ones who survive and or vamper long enough to have a few lines and presence. Sean Patrick Thomas plays Trick. He's of Save the Last Dance fame.
Yes.
Danny Masterson plays Nightshade.
Oh, these names, Amber.
Nightshade. They call him Shade. I think his sole purpose in having that name and the aesthetic, like he already looks like a vampire when he shows up for the techno-savvy heist. And so he has this like floor-length duster, and it basically his character existed so that as soon as Gerard Butler was resurrected as Dracula in the 21st century, he could have the equivalent of a cape.
Right.
In this duster that he pulls off the corpse.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to accessorize right away, Ember. And Danny Masterson gave him that. Excuse me, Nightshade gave him that.
Indeed. And we have one more very important character.
Yes, one that was a delight, who appeared as Father David. It was Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion's in this movie?
Yeah. Again, this is like 2 years before Firefly. So... Still unknown to even a baby Amber at this time.
I knew who he was because he was also at the same time in Two Guys, a Girl, in a Pizza Place, which was a sitcom starring Ryan Reynolds and Nathan Fillion. But like he wasn't Firefly Nathan Fillion. He wasn't, geek con beloved icon Nathan Fillion. He was just, that guy from Two Guys, a Girl, in a Pizza Place playing a priest who is super forgettable. I would not remember he was in this movie because the character is nothing.
Right.
Doesn't even show up a third time.
No, just the twice. That's the faux pas, really.
Yes. So this movie essentially has it that Van Helsing, played by Christopher Plummer, runs an antiquities shop.
Yeah.
Where Johnny Lee Miller, Simon, is his assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer Esposito is posing, she works there, and she's casing the place, and then the heist happens, and they're looking for valuables, or paintings, I guess.
They're looking for anything worth anything.
Anything.
And they find Dracula.
They find garbage and Dracula. And as they're going through this high-tech vault and finding just skulls with fangs in them, crosses, weird furniture, they're like, what the fuck, Selena? Where are the valuables? And she's like, keep looking. You don't lock it unless you love it or whatever. There has to be valuables in here somewhere. Yeah. And Omar Epps is her boyfriend. And he's like, yeah, what she said. And then they make it to the end and there's just a fucking coffin.
Yep, there's just a coffin. They open a door with a big old cross on it. And there's just a silver coffin that has crosses all over it. Which we learn later. Dracula isn't scared of Christian Jesus-y things. He just hates them.
He just hates Christian. He hates God and all of his stuff.
Mm-hmm. So it's a big fuck you that Christopher Plummer put that all over the place.
It's just a big fuck you. Like, fuck you. Eat this cross. So the conceit is that Van Helsing, in the 1800s, managed to trap Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
But he couldn't figure out a way to kill him, so he just imprisoned him and then made a vow that he wouldn't die until he killed Dracula. So he puts leeches on the corpse and then injects himself with Dracula's blood to stay alive.
Yep.
So when the thieves break in and get this thing, it sets Dracula loose on a world that also Van Helsing is apparently has also eradicated vampires.
Right, which is very impressive given how quickly vampires spread in this world.
Yeah, he did a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
Very impressive, Christopher Plummer.
Yeah.
Way to go, Van Helsing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happens. Essentially, he was captured. Thieves break him out, get murdered. He turns from the vampers. And then he goes after Mary Van Helsing, Abraham Van Helsing's daughter, because...
Right.
Megan...
Mm-hmm.
Van Helsing was juicing when he conceived her with Dracula's blood.
Yep.
So now Dracula is, like, fascinated by and also psychically connected to her, and she, like, constantly dreams about him.
Yeah, exactly.
And also she's estranged from him because her mother was super Catholic and suspected something was up.
Yeah, her mom found out. Like, what a day that must have been. Her mom found out that her husband is over 200 years old and definitely keeps not just a vampire, but like the biggest of all and only vampire in a vault downstairs. Oh, by the way, he also juices vampire blood because he wants to live forever.
But because it's his solemn duty to do so.
Of course.
He's not juicing for him, Megan.
No, he's juicing for the world.
He's juicing for justice. It doesn't make sense, but it was alliterative, so I went with it.
That makes it better, for sure. Yeah, so she, like, ran off with her daughter, because she's like, fuck this shit. Which, you know what? Fair.
Get out! This is bonkers.
Yeah.
And so that gives us an excuse to have all of this happen in New Orleans during a Mardi Gras.
Of course. Yep.
All right, Megan.
Yes, Amber.
What did the critics think of this Wes Craven Presents Jim?
Yeah, I mean, right around at least Rotten Tomatoes is just, I think, slightly higher than Cursed. It's a 17 for the critics and a 39 for the audience.
Metacritic is lower than Cursed. 26 for the critics. And again, I don't know what's wrong with the users. It's at 87.
Whoa.
I think for these two movies, it's broken.
I wonder if, like, are there big just Wes Craven fans who, like,
maybe
bump up his score on specifically Metacritic?
Yeah, maybe they just activate for Wes Craven movies on Metacritic. I don't know, dude. And this isn't even, like, this is just a produced by Wes Craven.
Right. Presents, yes.
There is not a single green review. Every single one of these is scored 50 and lower. There's a 0.
Interesting.
From the New York Times. There are also not many of them.
Yeah.
I think there are 14 total. I don't think anybody really wanted to watch this one. And then after they did, they weren't happy that they had to. A lot of vampire puns are in these blurbs.
But of course. Let's hear some.
I would be delighted. Joe Layden of Variety. Overall, though, the slapdash pick appears to be the work of folks who made things up as they went along. You might say they were, well, vamping. Dracula 2000 is a stake in the heart. Cody Clark, Mr. Showbiz. Do you want a third one?
Yes, please.
This one just makes no sense.
Okay.
Good old Maitland McDonough of TV Guide, one of our favorites. In the end, it's the same old blood pudding. I don't really know what that is meant.
Yeah. Here we go. From Rolling Stone, Peter Travers. Dracula may stay undead in the new millennium, but there's not a sign of life. Oh, that bloodless acting in this sorry mess. Yeah. Yeah, people didn't particularly... They thought Gerard Butler was a bit too cheesy.
I thought you were going to say sensual.
Well, I mean, that's what he's trying to do. Although there were a couple people who said that, like, Butler's Dracula is allowed to strut his stuff is when the movie's good. Some suave charisma by Gerard Butler. He was living it up as like a sometimes bare-chested, trench coat vamp. So
he was doing something. Yeah, a lot of people were not excited about the acting.
Yeah.
Most people still like Johnny Lee Miller, though. Johnny
Lee Miller is the light of this movie, and he says some of the funniest lines for sure.
He's got the best lines, and he delivers them perfectly because he's Johnny Lee Miller. He hits them pitch perfectly. I laugh out loud.
Yeah. There were a few.
A belly laugh for Johnny Lee Miller. They are not wrong.
They're not wrong. No.
'Tis a bad movie.
Yeah. Enjoyable, but bad.
It is enjoyable. There are definitely, as we said, funny moments. There are some relatively decent kind of sort of jump scares.
Yeah, I think I got a little surprised a few times.
Yeah, and
I knew it was coming, but still they did a good job of surprising.
They tried to get clever with the Dracula story.
They tried. Yeah, they definitely tried.
They tried. Mm-hmm. And there were some... I'm trying to think of another thing.
Something.
Let me... Hold on. There had to have been something else that was interesting. Nathan Fillion was in it.
And, there you go. You got it all.
Actually, no. It made me think some funny things, I guess. What this movie did for me was make me think some funny things about vampires and Dracula in general.
Yeah, it inspired your imagination.
It inspired my imagination, Megan. So,
that's lovely.
Let us frolic through the garden of Dracula 2000. Goodbye, critics.
Yeah.
You're
not wrong.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
but come on. We all knew.
But it is also like... It's fun dumb.
I agree. I feel like it's flashy, fun, dumb. It is not a painful to watch movie. It's not a good movie. It's not a good story. It's not clever. It's not even well put together. But
It doesn't drag. It
No.
hops right along.
It does. It passes the time in an enjoyable fashion.
Yeah. There's more than one woman in it.
There are people of color.
Yeah. They're all vampires.
They're all vampires and sex objects.
But, most people in this movie are, I suppose.
That is a fair point, Megan.
Yeah.
Equity.
Equity, indeed. Amber, we start Dracula 2000 right where we should, which is on a pirate ship. I don't remember, 1800s, something like that.
It's like 1847 or some shit. It's a ship called the Demeter.
Yeah. Gosh, that was nothing. That whole beginning scene
amazing.
was absolutely irrelevant to anything.
Okay, question.
Yes, please.
Beginning of Kiss of the Dragon. Bunny's eating another bunny at an airport. Which opening is more ridiculous?
It's got to be the bunnies, because at least the beginning of this movie, we assume Dracula was on that boat. The bunnies had nothing to do with anything, even a little bit.
Very true. Okay, so that puts it in perspective a little bit. And I would say that the sole purpose of this scene was to establish a reason for Dracula to tie a corpse to the yoke of a plane while it was flying.
Yes, and that's weird.
That's weird, right? Because that also didn't need to exist. The beginning of this movie shows a ship at sea, and then there's like a flash, and everybody on the ship is dead.
Yep. And
there are rats crawling on them. And then you see the guy who was navigating the ship is just lashed to the steering wheel, but dead. Mm-hmm. And then the ship seems to have gone aground. And then it shows paw prints in the sand that then become people feet.
Yep.
And then we're in a city, like London, I guess. And you just see a dude in a cape walking very slowly at night. Slowly. And that's the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
And then we're immediately in the year 2000 in London.
Yeah. For reasons.
And it flashes back when Van Helsing is explaining to Simon that he is Van Helsing and that he captured Dracula. So it shows him capturing Dracula and he's in the London streets. But I didn't need to see the boat. And then, again, when the plane crashes, so like when the heist crew takes the coffin, they can't get it open, so they put it on a plane and try to get it open.
Because this very good heist crew has their own private jet that they're going to fly around on, even though they can't fucking steal anything from this guy who clearly has a lot of money.
So much money. We will talk about the heist, but because there's so much. But when they all get murdered, once the coffin gets opened...
Inevitable.
The plane then crashes. It makes it to New Orleans, which is his destination because he's trying to get to Mary. I guess by him lashing the pilot's corpse to the yoke again. How does that still... I mean, I guess he's using the same trick he used with the boat.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't work.
No.
How did it work?
I mean, they did crash, but yeah, they still get to New Orleans. I don't know, Amber. I don't know.
I'm just now realizing that it actually, the lashing worked. He got where he wanted to go.
Yeah. I mean, they could have just had the attack happen like when they were landing or something. But why would they be going? I don't know. I don't know, Amber. Try not to think too much about it. It hurts your head.
I hurt my brain. My brain space.
Amber, that doomed flight ended up in the bayou.
It was a swamp of death.
A swamp of death.
With 5 doomed souls aboard.
Wow. Yeah. That's top-notch reporting by Jerry Ryan.
It was fantastic. It was so poetic and evocative.
Yep.
Because, of course, reporters show up at the scene of this plane crash to report on it, which lets Van Helsing know where to go to start eliminating newly risen vampires. And also gives Dracula a chance to wake up in the swamp and snack on Jerry Ryan.
Exactly, yeah.
My goodness. Okay, so, the heist, Megan.
Oh, the heist, Amber. Yeah.
The deadly heist. The doomed heist of death.
Yeah, I mean, these Techno untz-untz heist folks are, they dress up as a Bobby, they come in, they was it Omar Epps that
yes,
throws a glass ball full of
knockout powder,
sand, something at one of the guards' face?
Sand. No, I'm sorry. Sand. You think he threw a sphere of sand at the guard's face and that made him go sleepy times?
I'm just saying that's what it looked like. It must have had something. It was, the Sandman, Amber, who makes you go sleepy times.
So he got some sand from the Sandman.
Yeah, he got some sand from the Sandman.
Put it in a glass sphere so that he could go wham in a security guard's face so that he would get knocked out.
He would go nighty-night. Yeah,
I'm so sorry I questioned you. It was legitimately sand.
It is much like some sort of Wile E. Coyote Acme purchase of like...
It was amazing.
Yeah.
One of them just has a taser and tases one of the guards. But for some reason we go with glass sphere of sleepy sand to the other guy.
The only use of it, it wasn't explained.
It was slick as hell. I mean, it was cool. It was
slick as hell. It was great.
Hey, that's what you get when you get techno-savvy heisters.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think even one of them said, good throw or something like that.
Nice shot. Yeah, they were very pleased with Omar Epps' aim.
Yeah.
I bet there was a debate before the heist where, Omar Epps was like, I'm going to try out my new sleepy sphere.
Sleepy sand, yeah. Sleepy sand sphere.
Oh, man, just use the taser. Come on, just use the taser, bro. Why can't you just use the taser? Why do you always have to try out your new gadgets? It's really inconvenient. It is not the time to beta test the sleepy sphere.
But I just got it from Acme. Just in time.
Fine.
One shot. I'll use the taser as a backup.
Fine. Okay. Fine.
I've been practicing my face shots.
I already said fine. Why are we still talking about this? Use your fucking sleepy sphere. God damn it. I'm so tired of your Acme ordering. Your late night Acme ordering. You have a problem and we're going to talk about it after the heist, which is going to be a massive success because you don't have that much security unless you just have a shit ton of stuff that none of us have seen or verified exists, despite the fact that we have an inside person.
Yes. Yeah.
How do they have a plane if they're this bad at things?
I don't know. It's and every step along the way, they are convinced that there must be money there somewhere. To the point where they go down. There's like Van Helsing has appointed this like creepy ass cavern vault with vampire skulls all along, like vampires with like different types of teeth. Some are like their two front teeth are the fangs, and some of them are the
Nosferatu classic.
Yeah, exactly. And so they get down to like the vault where there's an extra lock and the big old cross on it, and they get in and there's just a coffin, and they're like. And some of the people are like, fuck this shit. Like, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. We've got some candlesticks and a coffin. We're going. And they like insist. It was mostly Omar Epps and Jennifer Speedy.
Yep. So Selena and Marcus, who are the couple, and Selena was the inside person, and Omar Epps' Marcus is the leader. Selena is like, no, there's stuff here. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And Marcus is a little dubious. He's pretty pissed, but she convinces him, and they get to the coffin, and then he drinks the Kool-Aid. And his reasoning is whack-a-doo-doo. He's like, no, guys, of course it's a coffin, because all of the stuff beforehand was just pageantry to scare us off. So clearly, there's great treasure in this coffin.
Yeah. And then they push the coffin off the thingy that it's on, and the traps are sprung, and two of the heist people that narrate we got their names are impaled in different ways.
Immediately impaled. One guy gets spiked where the coffin was, and the door also becomes spiked and a guy was standing in it and they both die instantly. And Megan, you made an excellent point. Van Helsing is trying to keep Dracula under wraps. Once we get a peek inside this coffin, which has no latch, it takes them a while to figure out how to open it. There's no obvious latch in this silver box. Mm-hmm. You have a corpse that has like a metal mask on its face, and it's manacled. Like, he has a whole setup. Got to keep him under wraps. Can't get him rising up, making more vampers. Mm-hmm. Whatever. Also, he's covered in leeches because that's how he gets his juicing.
Yep. So,
if you're trying to keep Dracula from rising, biggest priority. No blood.
No blood. You can't like he seems to be in some sort of comatose state. The only thing that could help like bring him out of that would be blood. It's the only thing, Amber.
And what do these traps do, Megan?
Jesus Christ. They like fling blood everywhere.
They're stabby flingy traps.
Yeah.
They're almost perfectly designed to make sure that if somebody gets caught in this room, they're going to splash blood all over this coffin. Come on. And I defended it by saying, well, how are you going to do this bloodlessly? And then immediately was like, oh, electrify the thing.
Yeah, electrify shit. You can't, at least blood's not going everywhere. Poison gas. Come on.
Turn the room into like an oven, trip the wire and suddenly everybody gets flambéed. No blood. Nobody walks away with a coffin.
Just crispiness. Yeah, exactly.
I can't even with these traps. I get it. If he was working in the 18 and 1900s to do this, fine. But he has had time to update, and he failed to do so. He brought this on himself.
Yeah, I feel like he just updated, like, the mouth of the vault, and he never updated anything inside the vault, that's just a rookie mistake. You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. So cocky. After these two people die, most of the team is freaking out. Nightshade and Trick are just, no. Our bros are dead. We got to get the fuck out of here. They blow a wall because obviously the entrance is now covered in spikes and one of their friends. Mm-hmm. So they have explosives and they blow a wall and they start to leave. And then Marcus and Selena are like, where the fuck are you going? Grab an end of this coffin. And the looks on Nightshade and Trick's faces are amazing when they turn around. Yeah. The fuck did you just say to me? Grab the fucking coffin? Our friends are dead. There's no shit in here but crazy fucking traps. Grab the coffin?
Yeah, ridiculous.
And then Selena pulls a gun on them.
She was convinced they couldn't leave without that coffin.
She's trapped in a sunk cost fallacy at this point.
Yeah.
She's put all this work into it. We've got some corpses. We need to come away with something. We're leaving with this coffin.
Yeah. Allegedly, the coffin is all silver. And so I suppose they could have melted that down at some point.
Sure, that's not worth nothing. Well, they wind up crashing into the water.
Yeah, those 5 doomed souls in that
after getting
death swamp.
Very murdered before they crash.
Right, super duper murder before they crash. And Dracula goes from like a emaciated, like corpsey guy to Gerard Butler very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
He just needed a sip or two, and he's back, man.
He munches on Shade first. Mm-hmm. Shade manages to get the coffin open, spends a while investigating the juicy corpse, sniffs it, and it smells bad.
Yep.
And is like poking it around. He's like, oh, I found a cross with rubies. I've got a leech on my eyelid.
Oh, that was upsetting, yeah.
Like, he spends long enough with the body that you sort of are like, it's going to sit up and grab him at some point. But it's long enough that when it does actually happen, you're like, oh, there it goes.
Oh, there it goes. Yeah. No, that was a jump scare, yeah, for sure. I knew it was coming, but oh my, it came then.
You got him.
Yeah.
He screams.
He also spent a long time with that open-ass coffin without telling anybody he'd finally gotten it open.
You would think he would be furious once he did get it open, because Selena held a gun on him and insisted, we're leaving with this coffin, there's got to be good stuff in there. He opens it up, it's a stanky corpse.
Right.
I would think he would be furious, run up to the front of the plane and be like, I hate you. I hate you. Go look at what we brought home. Okay? It's not even worth the fuel we're spending to fly home.
Yep. Yeah.
But instead he lingers with that corpse, gets et. Trick comes to check on him. He gets et.
Yeah.
And then it just takes those two, and suddenly you have a bare-chested Dracula wearing nightshades, trench cloak.
At this point is when Dracula starts to do his sexy enthralling of women thing. So all the women just come to him, Amber.
So I didn't have the thought at this moment. Actually, the thought I had at this moment is that Dracula is OP. Because one, bullets don't work on him.
Right.
Two, he immediately revivifies after 200 years just on snacking on two dudes. I don't even think he fully juices them.
No.
And then Marcus gets a shot off on the plane accidentally, which lets some sunlight in and like burns Dracula. He's like, oh, okay, great. Like, I'll just stay on the other side of the sun. So then Dracula closes his eyes for a second, calls up a fucking storm.
Yeah.
And blots out the sun. I'm like, oh, Dracula's just fucking OP.
Yeah. It's that seems a little unfair so early. Like, you'd think he'd build to some sort of powers, but no. He starts out with like fucking controlling the weather. So
come on, bulletproof control. Fine. And yes, so Lena, he basically walks in the cockpit, holds out his hand, and she's like, oh yes, I do think I will take your hand. Yeah. Oh, I'm into this.
Mm-hmm.
And this happens repeatedly.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
To the point where, so like Jerry Ryan sees her cameraman brutalized, and still
by nothing, because she's watching the footage of it. Amber.
Yes, she's watching and of course Dracula doesn't show up on camera, so he rips open the door to the van where she's hiding, and then holds out his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And she puts her hand in his and says, oh yes, no, I do think I want to go where you lead. And then he winds up with Lucy, Mary's roommate. But in order to get to Lucy, he walks through a Virgin. Oh my God. So, a ridiculous amount of this movie takes place in a Virgin record store.
Yes, it does. Yeah,
where Lucy and Mary work in New Orleans. And I guess when he sees Mary in a vision, he sees that she's in a Virgin. So he goes looking for her there, finds Lucy instead. And while he's walking through this Virgin, which is apparently the only customers they have are women.
All women were there. Yep.
Every single one of them doesn't just check him out, but seems to orgasm slightly upon his passage.
Yeah.
Just gently stroking their chests, mouths open.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucy's just helpless.
Right.
Which is when I then had the realization that Dracula is just a fucking roofie. He's a man roofie. Dracula is a roofie.
Yeah, walking roofie man.
He's just a walking roofie. Yeah. Like, it seems like, women get respect. They don't just get flung around and murdered. They get the nice, respectful, but no, it's worse than that. They get their consent removed from them, and they're forced to say yes because they're roofied by freaking walking corpse magnetism. At least the allure of the werewolf and cursed was sort of like, you're kind of sexy, but I can resist it. I mean, I'm into it, but it's not like I must go to you now.
Knowing that you just ate my friends, but I'm still going to go to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You were a corpse 5 seconds ago, but...
Yeah. Yeah, having women's agency taken away so thoroughly like that is it's just upsetting to see.
So he's an OP walking roofie.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
So, Amber, one of the things that I do like about this movie is that, okay, we've got everything happening in New Orleans. Christopher Plummer makes it there. Johnny Lee Miller has now followed Christopher Plummer to New Orleans because he's very suspicious of whatever Christopher Plummer is doing. They have their little initial battle with the new Vampers, and
yes, the Techno savvy crew becomes Vampers. Yes, yeah,
exactly right. And so after that, Johnny Lee Miller and Christopher Plummer are driving away, and Christopher Plummer is just telling him like, okay, so everything you saw there was real. And then he breaks it down just real quick. Like, it's a rundown of vampires. Like, silver hurts them. You gotta either hit them in the heart with a stake or silver, behead them, and sunlight kills them. There you go. And it's just like this, like, one sentence rundown that I wish was in every single fucking movie like this, where it's like, don't tell me it's too complicated. Don't tell me that, like, you have to hear the whole backstory. And while I'm starting to tell you the backstory, the actual monster is going to come and eat me. Or we're going to have to run away. No, give me the, like, 3-second, like, this is what hurts it. Like, and at least you have that much information.
Van Helsing walks into where the corpses are laid out from the plane crash and immediately goes into, eliminate the new vampire mode. And then that's when Simon, Johnny Lee Miller, shows up and he's like, dude, what the hell's going on? And Abraham Van Helsing's like, don't have time to explain what the hell's going on right now, but here's what the deal is. Whatever you see, remember your sanity, it's real. Shoot it in its heart, cut off its head, they are the undead. He hands him a gun, shows him there's a knife in the stock, and walks away. Yeah. It's just... I gotta go get a vampire now. Like, there are lots of vampires in the room. You'll be fine. I gotta take care of this. God damn it. It's so...
Yeah, he's
yeah. That's good.
You would say that he was a studied hand at this, except that he also leaves, who was it? Was it Jerry Ryan?
Marcus.
No, at that point it was... both Marcus and then...
Oh, Marcus and Selena, yeah.
And Selena both are still in those body bags. Like, why didn't he just end them right then before they even were fully awake? I don't know.
He's been out of the game for a while. I mean, how long ago did he eliminate the vampire scourge?
Probably, like, at least, like, decades ago.
It's been resting on his antiquity dealer laurels. It's been a while since he's had to behead a whole bunch of vampires.
Yeah. He also hasn't gotten his leech fix for a little while, so.
Yeah, he probably left without his leeches. One of my first favorite lines is in this scene as Simon, Johnny Lee Miller, is fending off Marcus, Omar Epps.
Mm-hmm.
Simon pulls out a cross, and Marcus is like, sorry, sport, I'm an atheist. And then you just hear, shing, and a blade comes out of the bottom of the cross. And Simon says, God loves you anyway. And stabs him in the eye.
Yeah, it's quite good.
It shouldn't be funny, but it is because Johnny Lee Miller is amazing.
Absolutely.
Big chunk of the rest of the movie is, hey, Dracula, meet the year 2000.
Yes, uh-huh. How does he deal with music videos and... Mardi Gras?
He loves them. He loves music videos and Mardi Gras, Megan. He's really into it. All the people drinking and cheering, and
it's a bacchanal that, like, he can just feast and not be noticed, and there's all kinds of, like, sexy vampire things going on, right?
It's true. Chaos and temptation, Megan. Chaos and temptation.
Yeah.
There's also some exposition time for Van Helsing to say, I don't know who he is and I can't kill him, but I think the way to kill him rests with who he is, because he's the first vampire and he's older than Dracula, so he's got to be somebody. If I could just figure out who that somebody is. Also, he really hates God.
He also really hates God, yeah.
Just hates God so much.
He's angry, yeah.
Makes him so mad. We need an interlude where Dracula has ceiling sex with Mary's Lucy. Roommate Lucy.
Of course, yeah.
Of course. Mary thinks she's going crazy all of this time.
Yeah, Mary is just in she's having visions. She can see what the vampire's doing every once in a while, especially when he's attacking women. And yeah.
So she's just kind of running from rooms and social encounters every time she has a vision. She's confiding in Nathan Fillion, her priest. And then she comes home to have Lucy, who is now a vampire, fucking with her.
Oh, so bad, yeah.
Until she finds the grim tableau of Van Helsing, her father, murdered. This death tableau is fucking weird.
It's strange. It's very strange. Yeah, I think it's like it's meant to be some sort of surprise or set piece, or like they left the corpse for her to find, but like... I
mean, they did. They lured her to the room with an in-house phone call and phone off the hook.
But it was weird. Like, the presentation was...
It was so
under the bed.
Weird. Well, there's essentially there's a blanket on the bed, and it looks like there's a body under the blanket. Mm-hmm. But then when she pulls the blanket off, it's instead a bloody rod shoved through the mattress, and the mattress looks like it's bleeding.
Yep.
And then she looks under the bed, and it's Christopher Plummer with the rod shoved through his neck.
Yeah, yeah.
But I still don't understand how the bed is bleeding. And also, why, if they wanted her... Like, the whole thing was a presentation. She was lured up there to see this thing. Why did they shove him under the bed? Why was he murdered by a rod to the neck?
It's all questionable.
It's all very intentional, but very confusing.
It's strangely intentional. Yeah, it's not how I would try to terrify somebody, I suppose.
And then she's in the house with Dracula's new 3 vampire brides, Jennifer Esposito, Jerry Ryan, and Vitamin C. And also him. Then Johnny Lee Miller shows up to save her and inexplicably does, because Dracula in this moment decides to turn into a wolf and chase her. Mm-hmm. The person he came here to get and really wants turns into a wolf for reasons to chase her, and then Johnny Lee Miller shoots a silver bolt, which we know can hurt him but can't kill him, at the wolf, so then he turns into bats and flees, and then lets them run away just long enough for them to do some research.
Yeah, yeah.
Then shows up again, knocks the shit out of Johnny Lee Miller and, slaps the gun out of his hand, the gun that he fled from earlier. Although, this does give us the next funny moment, where Johnny Lee Miller then holds up a Bible after the gun has been slapped out of his hand.
Uh-huh.
And Dracula's just like, propaganda.
Yeah. Yep. It's great.
And then Johnny Lee Miller busts open the Bible and it flings pages at Dracula and they set themselves on fire. It's weird, but the propaganda line was hilarious.
Was very good, yeah.
So the whole finding Van Helsing dead, turning into a wolf, vampire bride scene was...
Yeah, it was, Amber.
It was.
It was.
And then she escapes so the rest of the movie can happen.
Exactly. Well, she has to, because the movie has to happen, Amber.
What would we do if we didn't have the next part of the movie?
Yeah. But the thing is, the research does nothing for them.
They learn nothing.
They learn nothing, and the only reason they learned anything is because Dracula himself goes ahead and tells Mary who he was.
They don't even figure it out. You get Dracula exposition. He tracks her down and he's like, hey, I'm really excited about you because I didn't make you a vampire. You were born one, or you were born with my blood.
Something like that.
So that makes you mine. But also I'm going to turn you into a vampire.
I'm still going to do that, yeah.
And when I do, I'm going to show you something I've never shown anyone else. And that's going to be me betraying Jesus and then hanging myself. Hey, I'm Judas Iscariot.
Yes. Twist.
Which you legit said when it happened. You're Judas Iscariot. Twist from Megan.
Yeah, it's yeah.
So he hates God
there's that.
because when he betrayed Jesus and then hung himself, the rope broke and he became a vampire, the first vampire.
Right.
And he couldn't be out in the sun anymore. And so now he hates crosses and Bibles and silver. He hates silver specifically because he betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver.
Right. All the things. Yeah.
Religion.
Yeah. And he specifically knows God exists, and he specifically knows that God has abandoned him.
Yeah, he straight up.
And
he legit knows that there's a deity.
Yep. And then he's like, so you've abandoned me, but I feast on your children and I give them everything they've ever wanted, and they're denied by you, which is like
pleasure is I think what he says.
Stuff. Yep.
Sexy times, eating people, being a corpse.
Yeah, and then we got Rooftop Battle because inexplicably Dracula has brought Mary to a rooftop in New Orleans so he can like look down on Mardi Gras happening and comment on it, as well as there's a neon cross with a Jesus picture on it,
neon crucifix.
Yeah. So that's where they are.
Mm-hmm. So he talks to the crucifix a whole bunch.
Yes. Stand in for Jesus and God.
Yeah. Like, so we see a vision with Mary where they seem to be having sex in like a tent in the desert near his hanging Judas body. Right. It's a whole thing. And then when she comes to consciousness, he's having a whole conversation with the neon crucifix.
Right.
Yeah. About like, I've suffered, but I feed on your children, blah, blah, blah. And then, okay. And Johnny Lee Miller has meanwhile been captured by the three brides.
Right.
He kills one of them. He kills Jerry Ryan.
He does, yeah.
But God damn it, Lucy and Selena have tied him up and brought him to be Mary's first kill?
Right, yeah.
And also to turn him into a vampire?
Right, maybe.
And she pretends to bite him.
Yeah, she bites her own lip, but then
does her own twist.
Where,
because we don't see her pretend to bite him. We think she does it. And then she pulls out the blade from the gun that keeps getting slapped out of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And goes back to Dracula like, I want to kill him because even if he's a vampire, he'll probably still hunt us. And he's like, cool, baby, you do you.
Exactly.
And so she walks over to him to take his head off. And instead she, in one pretty baller move, cuts off Lucy's head, her roommate and friend, but she's a vampire now, and then stabs Dracula in the heart.
Yeah. Pretty good.
I mean, of course, he reminds her at the time, like, I can't die, right? And then just kind of flings her around the rooftop a whole bunch.
Right. This is just kind of a dick move, because it just fucking hurts. Like, it's not going to kill me, but...
You literally can't kill me. I am OP. I cannot be murdered. Your dad had 200 years to figure out how to murder me and failed.
And so could not.
I'm just going to throw you around this roof for a while while Johnny Lee Miller struggles with Jennifer Esposito and gets the gun slapped out of his hand a few more times. There's like a garden hut on this roof. So there's like glass and a rake, and there are several moments in which you think, oh, that's the thing he's going to kill her with. Oh, that's the thing he's going to kill her with. Like when he attacks her with the rake gets like, she breaks it in half. You're like, oh, that's a stake.
Oh,
but then that gets knocked out of his hands and he gets thrown through a thing and like, oh, those are pruning shears. And she winds up like on top of him, straddling him, and he gets the pruning shears around her neck. This is the last really good line.
It's so good,
of the movie. She freezes and she's like, Simon. And he's like, better make it good.
Better make it good.
And she starts to sort of proposition him because he asked her out earlier in the movie when she wasn't a vampire. That he cuts her head off.
She did not make it good.
She did not make it good, Megan. Mm-hmm. I don't think there was any way to make it good, but I like that he offered. He's like, okay, what you got?
Yeah, what do you have? I mean, if you got something real good.
Sell me, baby.
Mm-hmm.
She failed to sell him.
Yeah. But then, so then Mary figures out, how to kill Dracula, because all she needs to do is hang him, because hanging him didn't work before, so now it's going to work.
Because he hung himself as a man, Megan, and then became a vampire. This time, she hangs him as a vampire.
Right.
Well, she also earlier says something about, have you asked God for forgiveness?
Right, yeah.
Because he's like, you know I can't die. He won't take me. And she's like, have you asked? He seems kind of but Megan, while he's choking, he drops her to the ground, many stories below, but she's a vampire, so it doesn't matter, and then releases her?
That's the thing he can do. He can just, un-vampire people.
He's got magic devamping powers, and once again proving at the very end of the movie, Dracula be OP.
Yeah. Do whatever the shit he wants.
Do whatever the shit he wants. And then the sun comes up and he's immolated. So we actually don't even get to see whether or not hanging him would have done the trick.
Finished him off, yeah.
Because the sun just sort of
Yeah. Although he must, the Christopher Plummer must have tried the sun before.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I mean, that's obvious. It's one of the three things that he immediately tells Donnie Lee Miller.
Right.
Heart, head, sun.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless it's Dracula.
Yes.
And then it's like a big question mark.
Yes, exactly.
And now Lucy is the keeper of Dracula's ashes.
Yeah.
And asses. His ass ashes.
Ass ashes, yes.
And all the rest of the ashes. Just in case he managed to reconstitute himself, he's back in the same fucking coffin in the same fucking crypt in London. Because that worked out so well.
Worked for 100 years before, so might as well.
And she's wearing leather now, so she's very confident.
So she's very cool. So, Amber, what would you rate this movie on the rock scale? Regrettable, outstanding, crazeballs, or K?
Regrettable crazeballs, K?
Yeah.
Crazeballs, K regrettable?
I wouldn't say, like, as dumb as this movie is.
Yeah, it's not regrettable.
It's not really regrettable.
It's funny.
It's a bunch of K with a couple really silly, outstanding moments. Outstanding, that's...
Solid crazeball.
Crazeballs, that's what I mean. Yeah, there's no
quality crazeball.
Quality crazeballs, yeah.
Yep, some good lines. Johnny Lee Miller is doing his thing. I mean, we love Johnny Lee Miller, so...
Yeah, oh,
he can do no wrong. We would have watched this anyway. And, Gerard Butler as Dracula is,
He's you say like Christopher Plummer.
He's putting out some shit.
Ridiculous.
He says it the way you're supposed to say it. Dracula.
Dracula. Which is kind of how Maddie says words now, where she just like, there's just an extra, a pumpkin, a pumpkin.
It's a production.
Yeah, there's extra syllables in there.
Words are meant to be artistically interpreted.
Of course they are.
Yeah, I am entertained by this movie.
Excellent. Good.
Megan.
Amber.
Do you have an Abby or Maddie story?
I do. So Maddie painted a like one of those little tiny pumpkins at preschool, and like, she's 2, so she put like a whole bunch of blue glitter stuff on it. And Abby, we're having like an artsy morning, and Abby decided to draw Maddie's pumpkin. And so Abby was talking to Maddie the whole time. It was very, very sweet. And Abby was just explaining to Maddie, I'm drawing your pumpkin. And, Abby was doing a great job of making a pumpkin. But then just every so often, every 30 or seconds or so, Maddie would lean over and say, "A pumpkin." Wait, 3 beats. "A pumpkin." It was very sweet and very cute, and very, like, Maddie was super excited about this pumpkin and showed it by saying, "A pumpkin."
Almost like she was rediscovering it over again for
the
first
like
time.
She was a goldfish, yes.
Oh my gosh, a pumpkin!
Exactly.
Oh, hey guys, did you see it's a pumpkin?
It's a pumpkin.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Happy Halloween, y'all.
Happy Halloween!
Amber, do you have a recommendation?
Yes. Yes, I do. In the spirit of this movie and the season in which we're recording this, not necessarily the season in which you're listening to it. That's the beauty of podcasts. Nothing means anything. I'm going to recommend a movie that's near and dear to my heart. For some reason, it is a comfort to me. I don't know why. I never slept well as a child or an adult. It takes me forever to fall asleep, and I would wake up from nightmares and just be truly terrified. And I had a massive movie collection specifically for this purpose. Like, I can't be alone with my thoughts. I can't deal with silence. So I'm either reading or watching something most of the time. And more importantly, I needed things that I could just put on when I woke up from these nightmares to just suck me out of that place. And for some reason, this movie was the one that would do the trick when other ones would fail.
Interesting.
It is called My Best Friend is a Vampire.
Oh,
it is from 1987.
Uh-huh.
And it stars Robert Sean Leonard. I don't know if you know Robert Sean Leonard.
Oh, do I know Robert Sean Leonard?
I'm just checking.
Do I know Robert Sean Leonard?
Checking, okay?
Yeah.
We're of an age, so I feel like I can rely on you to know who that is. 10 years from, like, most people, 20-somethings won't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Who my dear Robert Sean Leonard is.
Yes.
It is a movie in which a young high school man who works as a delivery person for a grocery store has a romantic interlude with one of his customers when he does a home delivery to this exotic, mysterious woman who invites him over for sex. She bites him, and he starts to turn into a vampire. And also he's in high school. And also he has a romantic obsession with not the cheerleader who's interested in him, but the band geek who's not.
Okay.
And also he has a best friend who at first is scared, but then helps him out. And also really supportive parents. Also he gets a vampire sponsor played by Renee Auberjonois, who you would recognize.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
From that terrible from Deep Space Nine, of course. I was thinking from the fucking terrible show with William Shatner and James Spader.
Also, yes, but also that, yes.
Spadered? Yes. Past tense Spader. And he's a sponsor to help him with the transition, and he gives him the guidebook, Vampirism, a guide to an alternative lifestyle, and to help him deal with the transition. And then also there's a crazy vampire hunter that's out to kill him.
Excellent. That sounds delightful.
And being a teenager.
Yeah.
And dealing with psychic powers. It's real stupid and campy and sweet, and for some reason just has this special place in my heart as just this ridiculous thing that would pull me out of my scary, sad moments.
Yeah.
So I recommend My Best Friend is a Vampire. 90 minutes of bliss.
Excellent. That's a good recommendation.
80s bliss. Megan.
Amber.
Do you have a recommendation, or perhaps something a little different? Something like a recommendation, but almost better because it's got that certain something. What is, I can't put my finger on it.
A little bit of Amber got it right.
Ooh, that's what I like to hear. What you got for me?
Well, I listened to, and I'm still finishing up, Mission to Zix, which is a podcast that is like a semi-improvisational podcast about these explorers in space.
Sure. That all seems accurate.
Yeah. I mean, it's comedy folks doing improv about space travel and things.
Yep. Little Star Wars, little Star Trek, little Lord of the Rings sometimes. It's geek inspired. I liked it. It took me a while to actually kind of get into it.
Yes.
And I have to say what really sold me on it was AJ.
Yeah, and so the reason that this occurred to me is because AJ is the one who goes, twist, twist, and he's very good, and like the whole thing. I think you're right, Amber, that it takes a little bit to get into, but it's definitely a fun listen. And the thing that's kind of sweet about it is that they leave in just enough of the kind of half laughing lines that they do, where they're trying to keep their cool, but they're like semi breaking, and they do some things just to annoy each other, and you can see it, and that they're doing it to each other, and that becomes kind of fun. All the characters on it are terrible in terms of like, there's no one you're like, not terrible is probably a little too harsh, but like, there's no hero exactly. Everybody's a little has major flaws, but that makes them a little bit more interesting. Yeah. It's on Maximum Fun. It's actually in its last season. It's finishing up, I think, early next year or something like that.
And it really has that labor of love feel to it. Like they're all friends. It's a large cast. They have great guests. That was one of the things that you get really excited about, because you recognized a lot of I think they always have a new person on as a fresh character or as a returning character on every episode.
Right, you got your Paul F. Tompkins, you got your Brennan Lee Mulligans, you got your Aparna Nancharlas. Yeah, it's a very good stuff.
And so every time they got, more popular and kind of more donations or more money, or when they joined the Max Fun Network, they poured it into production value. So like the sound level increases with every season. They get increasingly large numbers of orchestral pieces to do their scores. So yeah, it's clearly a labor of love, and you can also kind of hear that in it.
Yeah.
And also AJ is fantastic. Just fantastic.
Twist.
It's his comedic, the person who does AJ's comedic timing is delightful. He does a character that everybody hates, but fucking Bino, man.
Yep.
He made me laugh.
Yes, and I hated Bino. I hated Bino at first, and then I loved Bino. It gets you, like...
It gets you.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, yes. Amber got it right.
Sorry,
good job,
it's
Amber.
A curse. It's a ding-dang curse.
Yeah.
Well, on this wonderful, fulfilling note, Megan, I would like to wish you a good weekend this year and a good night. Thank you.
Excellent, and I'll just close it up, button it up just like I always do by saying to you, my friend, let there be rock.
No. I don't have to let there be anything. You can't you, my friend, are not Dracula. You can't roofie me in to just accepting a horrible fate. So no, I will not let there be rock. Frankly, I'm fucking offended that you suggested I should let there be rock. She nods sagely at me. Can't Dracula this.
Dracula.
I will not get out of this news van. I'm going to stay right here.
I'll bust open the door, Amber. You know I will.
Doesn't matter, because you bust open the door and you just fucking stand there holding out your hand. I'm like, no, I just watched you kill my friend. Fuck you.
Come with me.
Absolutely not. You just said, let there be rock to me. You can go straight to hell. I am with Mary. I will stab you in the head after beheading my friend and roommate who helped murder my father, I think, earlier.
Yeah, probably. Had to.
This movie, Megan.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Embers.